Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to have a play with the products that I recently unboxed with PandaHall. Now if you didn't see that, I'll have a link up here, and also all the links will be below for PandaHall and the products that I put together here today. And yeah, all the links will be there to take you to PandaHall. And don't forget, when you're in PandaHall at checkout, you can put my coupon code in YXYTValita and get 10% off checkout. So today I want to just work with these rhinestone, sew-on rhinestones, which are just gorgeous. Look at them. Absolutely gorgeous. These acrylic bow beads and this big roll of sequin trim. Isn't it beautiful? Gorgeous, gorgeous colours. Now, first up, I wanted to make a few dangles to go with my journals that I'm doing. I've got one journal cover already finished, which I have to get in and do the signatures for, and then this one still needs decorating. So what I'm going to do today is do two different dangles with these products, and I'm just putting a little stopper bead on, and then my drop bead, and that's going to be on the bottom of this dangle. These are just little clear beads I had in my stash, and I'm probably going to have to come back up, so I'll thread this back up the other way. Now I'm just using some sort of cord here that goes through the through this needle. I'll just it's just a multicolored thread that I got, that I thought would match all the sparkly colors on this. So to secure down my dangle, I'm going to miss that last bead and come back up through the drop bead, and I'll try and make those strings the same size, because we will have to go through two strings. Okay, that's about the right size. Okay, and I've got that fastened off. Then I've got the little bead on the bottom, and you go miss that little bead and go back through this last drop bead. So I'll just push that out of the side for a minute so we can see what we're doing. Now I'm going to swap needles, because that to one that's a bit bigger, so I fit the two threads in. Right, so I'm going to use some of these beautiful acrylic bow beads, and I'm going to put my first one on, and I love how the hole goes through the middle of the bow here, so that when it will dangle you will see both sides of the bow, which will be quite pretty. So in between those bow beads I'm going to put on a few of these little acrylic beads just as a spacer. So let's put two on. Oh, I've got two on there, and see how that spaces. It might look better. Yeah, I think that spaces it better out. All right, so we'll put on another two. I like how you can see this blingy thread too through these clear beads. It looks quite pretty. All right, let's put a white one on. And let's put another two. PandaHall has all kinds of beads. There's so many beads in there, you guys. Check them out, because they're just awesome for beads. I love all their acrylic beads, and I don't care if they're, you know, plastic. They just look so pretty. All right, and let's get a purple one on maybe, hey? I hope you're all having a nice weekend. It's been pretty quiet here. I went shopping with my daughter earlier, which was nice. It's nice to have another daughter here. Pink one. I think I did notice there was a couple of shades of pink here. Yeah, there is. There's a light pink and a dark pink one. Pretty. Oh, that's pretty. It sort of looks like a kite tail, doesn't it? All right, I'll put a couple more of these, just these spacer beads on. These are just little diamond-shaped rice beads that are clear. Okay. And then I will grab a ring. I've got a ring here. I might take it off that needle now. And we'll tie it up onto our ring. Look, let's tie a knot first and then I'll wrap it around. And I want that ring to sit nice and put it through that knot, push it down. Actually, there's my, push it through that first knot and then push it right down where I want it to be. And that you'll get it in the right spot then, like that. And then I'm just going to wrap it around the head of that circle there a few times. And then tie it off. There's nothing hard to this, just tie it how you feel it's going to stay on the best, and do it like that. Oh, come through. All fingers today. I'll tie one more knot. Alright, and I'm going to cut that. I might just put a little spot of glue on there too, just to secure it on there. But that's my little dangle, one little dangle done. And it's just with all these beautiful little bows. I think it's so pretty. And once I have got this journal going, it will just look so pretty against the journal cover. And it'll just add some special sparkle to it. Right, that's one. Now another way I'm going to use these bows is I'm going to sew them on. I'll do that in a little bit. So, but there's all sorts of ways you could use these bows. Now my next dangle that I wanted to do was using this sequin thread. And I'm going to make a fun tassel. Isn't that gorgeous? It just sparkles so much. I love it. So I'll show you how I made this tassel. I've just got a ring and I'm going to measure off some of this gorgeous sequin thread. I just love it, and you get so much on here. I think it's 100 yards on this spool. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing. So I'll just get off a length of that, and I'm just going to measure each piece. So you can put it as fat as you want, like as thick as you want, or as thin as you want. Gosh, I can't even remember how many I made. So let's just start clipping and we'll see. I think I measured, depending on how long you want your tassel, this one is 26. You have to measure off 26. So that's the measurement there. And because it's going to fold in half as well. So that's about the length that we want. And remember that actually I might measure it off to about 30 because we're going to trim it up when it's finished. So just give yourself a little bit extra. So just do it to the length of a ruler and you'll be fine. I'll just put that out of the way. So this is the length that I want it. So I'm just going to go and cut quite a few lengths of this, all at the same measurement. Let's round that up to 10. Okay. Now you need to just roughly go to your middle So that would be what there. Let me have a look at the ruler. Let's do this properly, hey? 15. So let's go here. I'm just going to pinch that up and hold it in the middle. And just get my ring. Actually, yeah, I'm going to have to let go of the middle. Let's try and thread all these through the ring. Catch all those sequin threads. Good. All right, now you see that I laid them down with the colour facing up. So when you fold it, make sure you fold it so that the colour goes over the top, because this thread has got colour on one side and silver on the other. Okay, and the colours on here are like a they're not just flat sequins, they're like a glittery sort of sequin. Right, so I'm just going to divide that and make sure it comes in half. And I think it's about the same thickness as that. So 10's good. 10's a good number. Right. I'm going to just use a piece of thread here. This is just a it's a crochet cotton, but it's a metallic one. And I thought I'll choose that because it's got lots of colours on it that match this. Right, so just lay your thread. I might even double this up. Lay your thread over this, under the sequin, sorry, and we're going to tie that up so it gives us the little head of the tassel. Make sure all these are pulled down nicely. There's none sticking up. Like that. And I'm just going to give that a nice tight tug like that. I'm going to wrap this, wrap that length, and wrap this one. And then I'll tie it back off again. And that'll be the tie for it. But we're going to add some extra onto that, so you won't see this thread. So really it doesn't matter what type of thread you use to tie it off, because I'm going to use more sequin trim. Okay, that's tied. I'm just going to cut that right up close like that, and then have a look at your threads. Okay, got that nice. And you can, some of them turn over, so you can just flip them around the right way again. And see, by putting your sequin thread with the colour facing up, you'll see most of the colour. Okay, because remember I said that the other side of this sequin trim is silver. And it's sewn together with a yellow thread. So, you know, if you wanted to match that yellow thread, you could tie that around the tassel. Now, you will have sequins that come off. That's fine. You can put it in your scrap jar or whatever and use them for something else. But what I want to do to finish this off, I'll just cut a length. I'm actually going to use this sequin trim. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? I just love it. The colours on here are just spectacular. I'm going to use this sequin trim to cover this tie that we made. So I've just got some glue. This is just fabric glue and it'll work fine. And I'm going to put a little bit of fabric glue around on that thread. Okay. And I'm going to then stick that down. Stick one end down to get it going. And then just wrap around it. Oops. Maybe put your thumb on that first one. Hold it there for a second. Like that. And then I'm just going to wrap my sequin thread around. Just a few times, give it some nice colour. And then I will finish it off somewhere down there. And then just give that a little trim. Okay, that got it. And you might have to hold your glue just for a second, just to finish that off. Might actually need a little bit more glue just there. Okay, and then I would get some fabric scissors and decide where you want to cut that. You got a lot of little scraps here. Look, you could use those little scraps in any of your little bits and pieces. I actually put it in my my scrap fabric thread jar. You know, you can add it to all sorts of bits and pieces that you're doing. Okay, let you go over there, and you'll have yourself another tassel. Aren't they gorgeous? I probably should have maybe pulled that one a little bit tighter. Maybe I could. Yeah, that's better. There we go. And just let that take. These are gorgeous. I just love the use of the sequin trim as tassels. They're just so pretty. Look how they reflect the light. They're just gorgeous. And this will look gorgeous on the as a dangle on a junk journal. And it's really light. That's what I like about it too. It's really light. Doesn't add much weight to your junk journal. And there are little scraps of thread. You know, if you're scared that another sequin's going to fall off, you can just add a little bit of glue onto the bottom of them, but I'm not too worried about that. So that's two little dangles that I've made with some of the products. Now, my idea for this junk journal cover was to, like I said, add some of this trim on all my little joins. So I've got joins going all over the place here. So what I was thinking was just, you know, choosing some of the longer joins and putting some of this on, or putting it onto every join. I think that would look cool too. If you can see where I'm getting at. How blingy is that? And then at the joins, at the bigger joins, I'm going to like put on some of these gorgeous, what do you call them? Jewels. Okay, because my sequin thread has a yellow thread base, I'm going to use a yellow beading thread. So I'll get off a length of that, and I've got a beading needle, and we'll get started on some of this. Okay, when you're using beading thread, make sure that you are using a wax, because it'll just help you to no end. Okay, I just run that through. It conditions your thread, helps your thread to go through easily. I'm just going to cut off a length of this. It doesn't have to be anything just particular, but just pay attention. You may want to take, or just see if that's going to fall off. Yeah, you may want to take like the first one off or something like that. So on the back, I'm going to start on the back, and you've seen me do this before, how I start to thread. I do one stitch and I do another stitch. Don't go all the way through, loop through that loop and pull it tight, and that's how I start my beading thread. Okay, so I'm nice and secure at the back. I'm going to come back up to the front, and then I'm going to start adding some beads. I'm going to start this first sequin, and I will go back down through the back. I'm just going to make sure I just anchor this first sequin well. Okay, I'll come back up and go back down again through that first sequin. I'm not going to put anything on this sequin because I may put something on these corners. Okay, so then I'm going to come up maybe like, just make sure you've got that along your seam. Don't pull it too much because it'll pull the sequins out of balance. But I'm just going to come up, try and come up into the middle of that sequin. Okay, and the way I'm going to anchor this down is I'm going to put on some little beads. Now these are just seed beads. You can get them from PandaHall. These ones didn't come from PandaHall, but they are just little seed beads you can get on there if you want. You can just, actually they've got a whole section that says seed beads. So I'm going to thread my seed bead on, go back through the same hole that I came up, and there's a little bead now sitting on top of that sequin. So I'm going to go along every, not every sequin, but every second one maybe, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put come up through the sequin, and I'm going to see what colour that is. That's like a purpley colour, so I'm just going to pick a pinky purple sort of bead and just thread that on and go back through the same hole, and that's going to attach that sequin thread on. Okay, so I'm just going to do that along some of my seams here. I think that will look so pretty. And just pick different colours as I go. Might put another one of those pinky ones on. And then change the colour to the appropriate colour of the sequin. You don't have to do that. You could put a contrasting colour on. You could put anything that sparkles on. That's the beauty of it. So it's going to take me a little bit of time, but I think it will be what I want on this junk journal. I wanted to put, when I'm doing a bling journal, I just love to pack on even more bling. I'll show you my other bling journal at the end of this video. So if you're going to put bling on a journal, you might as well put it on till the cows come home, I think, and the more the merrier. So that's my philosophy with a bling journal anyway. Oh, I don't know where that bead went. Somewhere in my craft area. Right, we go put the bead on and go back down through the same hole. And that is going to give you a very secure border. Now I've gone down through the middle, but that one that I'm finishing it off on, I want to come up next to the sequin and then go back down. And then I'll come over the other side and go back down. Okay, and then I'll finish that off on the back. Cut that off. And then we go over to the front and see that's the one that I finished off on. So I am going to cut the thread there on the sequin trim. Okay, and I can cut that thread then just a bit closer because the sequin's not going to fall off because I've sewn that last sequin on. So that is how I am going to do my seams on this sparkly journal. I'm going to add all this sequin trim with beads. I can change up the beads as I go if I want to, or whatever, you know, it's just up to your imagination. Now one more thing I'll show you, a couple more things I'll show you are these gorgeous jewels. Now I've still got my bead thread threaded, so I'll continue to use that, but I'm going to pick something really pretty to put on here. Some of them are, we've got to turn them over, some of them. I like this square one, that looks really pretty next to the this silver. But you know, I love this peacock one. That is gorgeous. Maybe because this is the front of the journal, we might put some really special ones on there. All right, I might put that one on. Now you could use these sew on jewels for anything, absolutely anything that you sew on with. So this one's just a mixed pack and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just anchoring that down at the back like I showed, and I'm going to come back up to the front. And it was this one, wasn't it? Yeah, this little peacock coloured one. There's all sorts of colours. There's even more different what do you call it, different packs of all these sorts of jewels. You need to get on there and have a look at them. They're just gorgeous. Look, here's another gorgeous one. I'm going to put that on the front here too, and there's a few more of those peacock ones in here. I just love these ones too, just the clear ones. They're so sparkly and so pretty. So the backs of these have like a casing on them, and I can see there's 2 holes and then another 2 holes, so it's just like a button, you know. You're going to put it on like you would put on a shank button. So just thread it through the first 2 holes. Hang on, I'm just going to see where this is going to go. Maybe we need to put that in a different direction. We need to put it on this way. So just put it through your jewel. And I'm going to just anchor that top bit down like that. Come back over to the other side. Just take it through a couple of times. I think you need to when you're putting something a bit bigger like that on. And I've got my thread here doubled up because I don't want that jewel coming off. Hang on. Might need to turn it around this way so I can get at it properly. And then we'll go through those holes again, the same holes. Give that a little, I'm going to catch on everything. That's one thing you've got to watch when you're doing bead sewing. You end up catching on everything. Okay, I'm going to go back down through to the back. And then I'm just going to pull that around and come up in a better place for the bottom holes. Probably over here more like that. Okay, that's going to pull my jewel into the right spot. And I've just gone through that twice, and I think that's enough with the doubled up thread. I'm just going to push that over that way because I want to secure it down about there. So hopefully, yeah, that'll pull it over. Nice. Okay, and then I'm going to come back this side and go through that again. Now I'm only going to put jewels and things on the front of this journal. I don't like to do the backs of the journal because I like that to sit on the table without having, you know, lumpy things scratching your table and stuff. So I always just do the fronts of my journals when I'm doing fancy work. And then we just anchor it off at the back. And it's as easy as that to put those jewels on. Now you could use these jewels for all kinds of things. It would just look awesome. And that's how this one has come up on this journal cover. And I will continue to put some more of this sequin thread along here and along here and along here, just to add that bling to this journal. This is my tassel made with the sequin trim, which I just love how it's come out. So sparkly, so light, and so fun to add to your journals or whatever you want to add it to. That is going to, like I said, be added onto these joins. It's going to be added into the journal. I'm just going to put it everywhere, that stuff. Right, and we also looked at these gorgeous bow beads. There's so many of them in this pack, so many of them to play with, and I'm going to use them as well. This is my dangle for this journal, but I'm also going to use them on this journal front as well, as adding these gorgeous little diamante things. Not diamantes, what are they called? Jewels, rhinestones. They've got all sorts of names. But look at the colour. Not the colour, but look at the refraction in that. It's just stunning. And I just think they would look absolutely gorgeous on the front of this. I'll just bling it up to no end. So that's how I'm going to use these rhinestones, the sew-on rhinestones. They're so easy to sew on. And you know what? I think they're really good quality, because I've had others before and they go through here. They're not encased as well as these ones. So I'm really happy of the quality of these. I think they're awesome. Absolutely awesome. I think that will look beautiful on there. You know, I could even add a bow to that. Look at that. Wouldn't that look pretty? Adding a bow to the rhinestone. I think that will look gorgeous. Let me have a look up here. What was that's a purple color, isn't it? Yeah, I might even add a purple one up here, so it looks like it's actually dangling down from the bow. That would look beautiful. And then I've got a blue one here. Oh, that's going to look pretty. I think I'll do that on the front. Just add these bows on. Look, let's do it now. Where's my needle? Let's put one on now, because I think that'll look really pretty. Right, I'm going to put that up right close to my rhinestone. Let's use I wonder whether purple would be the nicest on there. I think it would. Let's add a purple bow onto there, and then just go back down really close, and let's add that bead onto there. Oh, that's so pretty. I love that. And then let's come back up again. We'll do it probably 2 or 3 times, just so it doesn't go anywhere. And I'm just trying to get you to think outside the box with your beads and things. You know, they don't just have to be on a bracelet. You can add them onto all sorts of things. So I've got 2 threads on there. I think that will be enough because I've got double thread here. Right, I've just got to position that because I want to cover up. See, this is proof I am not a quilter. Look at that join. But I knew that each of my intersections where they all come together, I was going to put on some fancy stuff like this. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you can't sew or you can't, you know. It honestly does not matter. So I'm going to bring my thread up, go through those holes. Got some great anchor points on too, these jewels. Some great anchor points. Go back down and we'll, because you know some of the bigger ones are quite not heavy, but you know they need anchoring down well. Pull you down like that, and look at that. It has covered up all my mistake. Hang on, let me cut that off. And it's covered up my mistake. I didn't make a mistake there. You didn't see that, did you? Didn't make a mistake. There's no such thing as mistakes. All right, let's go back through our rhinestone again. Back through our holes. And just keep giving that a nice little secure tug, okay? And then go back down through our fabric. Then we'll come down to the next set of holes and we'll put some more on there. Go through another set in one side and out the other side. And that'll keep it all secure. And that's on plenty good enough. So while I've got that still on, I'm going to pick that thread still on. I'm going to pick another bow. What about we put a green one on, or yellow? Something that just we've got a few different colours. Got a blue. It sort of blends in with that, doesn't it? I want it to stand out. So let's put a yellow one on. So I'm just going to come back to the top of this jewel and put on my bow. And they look like those little dangling, you know, what do you call them? I don't even know what they're called. You know, you've got a bow with a little jewel that hangs down. That's what they look like. I just love it. All right, let's go back. Oh gosh, that bit my finger. All right, let's do that another time. These bows have to be anchored down a little bit. Okay, let's go down there now. And that should be enough. Right, so I've brought you back up so you can see what's going on. We've got a gorgeous little bow dangle here, and I just love it because when they spin around they look the same on both sides, and so that will look so pretty on here, especially using the bows to match. I'm going to put one of these sequin tassels on here as well, and that will, like I said, be going on all my seams here. And then I'll use more of this, all these jewels as well, and just add more of these bow dangly bejewel things. All right, this is the journal I'm working on at the moment. This is a journal I finished not long back, and I'm going to add one of these on there. I think it'll just look gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous on there. Nice. So I'm at the stage with this one where I need to put pages in it. So that will just look so pretty. So I hope you've enjoyed looking at these products today. If you haven't looked at PandaHall, please do, because there's some gorgeous stuff to purchase in there and to look at. And today I've just showcased for them these gorgeous sew-on rhinestones. That I've got to get the right word. They're sew-on rhinestones. Look, aren't they pretty? Look at this one. It's another peacocky sort of one, and they're just stunning. I love this pink one. I love this pink one. Just so pretty. Oh, that's a gorgeous blue one. I might even put it that way and put a bow going over there. Nice. And then I'll add more coloured bows to match with my little jewels. Aren't they gorgeous? Alright, so don't forget, all these products that I've used here today will be down below in my description box. The sew-on rhinestones are down there. The acrylic bow beads all down there, and the last thing was this gorgeous sequin thread. This is 100 yards, so you get a lot on here, and I'm really enjoying just having the freedom of just, you know, using a lot of it, because look at the tassel that it made. Absolutely beautiful, light as a feather. It's just going to look gorgeous as a tassel on this journal. So don't forget, if you're interested in any of the products you've seen here today at checkout, if you put my coupon code in YXYTValita, you'll get 10% off at checkout. And anything off checkout is a bonus, isn't it? So pop over, have a look at PandaHall, make an account, jam all your things into your love list, because you'll want to look at them over and over until you go, yeah, I'm going to get that. Look, I haven't had any problems with PandaHall. They everything comes well packed, great, in great condition, in timely manner, and I just love working with their products. Okay, hope you've enjoyed watching this today. Got some ideas. You know, I haven't actually seen anyone do a tassel with this. So, you know, it's a great way to use that sequin thread. We all see it and we all sort of wonder, what are we going to do with it? So I can't wait to edge some pages with it. I can't wait to put it on some tags and other bits and pieces inside this journal as well. All right, take care. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon for the next video, which is for PandaHall. It is, where's my, oh, here it is. I'll be having some fun with this stamp pad and these dies. That will be my last video for PandaHall with this unboxing. Okay, so watch out for that video soon, and I'll see you soon. Bye.